I'm super pleased to welcome to the program this morning Representative Dale Hawkins. Dale is out of Legislative District 2, which is one of the larger districts. It goes all the way up, into parts of Kootenai County, down into, I guess he'll tell me which is the most further south, South County. But Representative Hawkins, welcome to the program. Give us a little bit of a scope of where your district lies.
Well, thanks, Matt, for having me on. So we actually start in Bonner County, all the way up by Heather Scott's house, Representative Heather Scott, and then it goes all the way into Clearwater County. And if you drive from Bonner County positions all the way down there, it's about a 5-hour drive to get from one end to the other. So it encompasses 5 counties. So there's Clearwater, Bennewash, Shoshone, 8 precincts in Kootenai County, and then the small portion of Bonner.
Fantastic. Okay, well, you came blazing into the State House last session, and you championed a bill that basically outlawed ranked choice voting in Idaho. And now we're seeing ranked choice voting and open primaries on this initiative that's being circulated across the state, trying to gather signatures so we can move into either a ranked choice voting or an open primary scenario. So before we get to the initiative, can you kind of explain what you all passed and what you championed last session?
So we did. We carried, and the party had sent out early on the desire that we needed to get ahead of this as we saw it coming into other states. So we actually brought the bill that, if I'm recalling right, it's 179, that actually prohibited ranked choice voting or instant runoff voting from taking place in Idaho. Now we've all learned that's going to be superseded if this initiative process is successful, which will be a tragedy for Idaho.
So even though you passed a law, this would be an initiative that would be like supersede. So it would be constitutional. They're trying to put it into the Constitution.
Well, it wouldn't go to. Well, I mean, it would become code. It would become law. So right now, these things weren't constitutional amendments, but our initiative process, which I know a lot of people look at it differently. The truth is, the people of Idaho elect representatives to come down here and represent their voice, but most of all, protect their liberties and stop governmental overreach so we can keep being a free people. The initiative process acts as a direct democracy, and then that's where we see these millions and millions of dollars coming in from outside interests, true outside interests, trying to change the political landscape of Idaho.
Right. So then talk to us a little bit about this initiative. We know that there's a large group, in-state group that is using volunteers and paid signature gatherers to basically go across the state in different counties. I guess you can target different counties on where you gather signatures. But what seems to be the process right now?
Well, what they had is they had a signature threshold, and I don't recall the number. It might have been. I don't want to guess and get it wrong, but so they had to go to just a limited amount of areas, in counties. So we tried to change that as well last time when we weren't successful. So they can pick out just a few of the largest populated areas, pay people to gather signatures, reach their signature threshold, and then they'll give this to the Secretary of State. Those signatures will be certified, and this will wind up on the 2024 ballot. And at that time, we will have the chance to inform the Idaho people how bad this will be for Idaho. I mean, essentially, you do this, it eliminates, as a Republican, eliminates my ability to align myself with a party and just makes this open jungle primary that I don't think people understand what's really going to happen. And not only does it do that, it changes the aspect of the November election. So where we're guaranteed in the U.S. Constitution a Republican form of government, this comes in and actually alters that because, it's one man, one vote, one person, one vote. But this now, you'll go in and depending on the parameters, you'll go in and check your first choice, your second choice, your third choice, your fourth choice. And it's very convoluted, but they know the reason they're doing this is they know somebody like me or even you, Matt, you go into a voting booth and you see somebody that you know that stands for your principles and you check that box, and these other folks are just, you're never going to check their box. Well, in an instant runoff system, that what happens is that your vote will go through the first round. If nobody gets 51%, the machine automatically shuffles all that votes. It drops off the lowest voter, and then it does it again. But your ballot is now spoiled and cast aside. So it keeps reducing, because nobody like you or I are going to check the box. If Kamala Harris was running in Idaho, we're not checking the box. It's just that simple.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I would never say that she would be my last choice. She's no choice. I would never put. Yeah, and so I mean, talk about disenfranchisement, where you say, well, you didn't vote for the plural, the 50 plus one person, so your vote is cast aside. That is un-American, and I'm really glad that I said this yesterday. Idaho is at we get to pay attention to what's going on across the country, and when we see it, we are very good. You guys are very good at saying, that's not going to come here, and then you get ahead of the game and start writing legislation to stop that stuff. Of course, you get pushback all the time. It says, well, that's not happening here. You're putting the cart before the horse. You're solving you're offering a solution with no problem, because that doesn't happen in Idaho. But those are snake oil salesmen to me, words.
Very interesting, Matt. Usually that is the term you hear, but when this came forward, there was very little pushback, and that normal, well, why are you doing this? Do you see anything? Comes up. This time it was silence. Now in the House, it passed pretty much down party lines. I think that there was maybe 2 people on our side of the aisle that voted against it. In the Senate, it went right down party lines. But I found out since the silence was because there were many who knew that in 2022, the groundwork for this was already being laid. They already knew it was coming. This wasn't in response to anything that we were doing or anything that was going on. This was something that they were bringing to Idaho, no matter who was in the legislature, because they want control. They don't want the Republican Party to have a closed primary, because they want to come in and thin out the people that are conservative and replace us all with Marxist moderates.
Yeah, I can't follow that up. I'm just going to let those remarks hang there for for a bit. I know you're busy down there. Would you mind be able to stay over one more segment?
I can do that.
Okay, great. So we'll hit the break here, and we'll be right back with Representative Dale Hawkins.